Hey, what's cracking, fellas? It's your boy Entei here with a draft analysis video. I just finished completing this draft for the Cash Gang Tour that I will be competing in. If you don't know, a Pokemon League is, a draft-based Pokemon League is essentially a group of players coming together and establishing a predetermined list of tiers for however many Pokemon they want, and then each player has their own team and they act as a coach, and every Pokemon can only belong to one team at a time. So it's very similar to like fantasy football leagues or something like that. And then once all the coaches have their teams, they do maybe a round robin or some kind of structure of games until one coach is victorious, basically. So I will be representing the Syracuse Sylveons because Syracuse, New York is where I went to college, where I earned my degree. So repping the old Syracuse Sylveons here and competing for a piece of the whopping $730 cash prize pool. So it would definitely be nice to get a little bit of that. That's split between the top 4 players, I think, but still. Getting money to play Pokemon is, I think, anyone's dream at this point. But if any of that interests you and you want to either spectate the games that are going to be going on, because I think there's 320 people in this tournament. It's a big tournament. So if you want to spectate games, or if you want to potentially get on board for next time, the Discord link is below. Go ahead and check that out. But anyways, let's just jump right into my thought process for drafting. And hopefully this is a quick video and will just give you some insight on at least how I approach draft-based leagues. So the plan, I wanted to do some experimenting this time around, and I wanted to draft either a dragon or a ghost spam sort of offensive core. And I wasn't sure which one when the draft started. I was leaning towards ghost because I have found that in most cases, people sometimes they won't prioritize drafting a normal type, and if that's the case, then the only typing that resists ghost is dark, besides normal. So I think ghost spam has the potential to be really detrimental in draft-based format, and maybe generally. And then also dragon spam is sort of similar. They've added fairy, so now it's fairy and steel, but still a very low number of resistances to dragon and ghost, and I wanted to see if I could find success with just spamming one of those, basically. I wanted some mixed attacking potential, so both physical attackers and special attackers from like the same Pokemon, so that they are incredibly versatile and hard to prepare for. And sort of similarly, I wanted a very strong offensive presence, because I've always found that, you know, the classic saying, the best defense is a strong offense, and I enjoy that type of play style better than stall, for instance. So I was definitely going to go for a strong offensive core. And then I wanted to get the maximum number of picks, just so that, again, I can be more versatile. In this particular tour, as you see at the bottom, the most number of picks I could have is 8. So my target is to end up with 8 Pokemon, and I have 90 points to... I'm allowed 90 points to get to that point, and each Pokemon is given a numerical value between 1 and 18, depending on basically how powerful it is. So if it's worth 18 points, it's a very strong Pokemon, and if it's worth 1 point, it is not. So that was my thought process going into it, and let's just see how I did. So first up, I got Dragopole, which was really the main thing I wanted. If I didn't get this, then I was basically going to cast out the idea of a dragon or ghost core, because it is both a dragon and a ghost. So from here, I can see what people are drafting and see if there are a lot of dragons left or a lot of ghosts left, and pick from there. But the highlight of Dragopole is definitely the base 142 speed stat. But also, it does have mixed potential. It's got that dragon and ghost stab like I was talking about, and it was just the perfect way to start my draft. And I have decided to christen him as Randall Boggs, which is that creepy little thing from Monsters Inc., that slithery purple turn invisible guy, because I think they actually look weirdly similar. So, but yeah, Dragopole was worth 18 points, cream of the crop, so I only got 72 points left. And I was deciding whether I wanted to get another dragon or get another ghost, and I actually decided to get another dragon. In my drafting pool, Aegislash was available for an incredibly long time, and I was definitely considering it, but I was just worried about the lack of versatility in like ghosts in general. I mean, Aegislash is pretty versatile because he can be physical or special, and Dragopole is similar in that way, but there's just so many lackluster ghosts other than those two, and I didn't have the stones to commit to ghost even though I really wanted to. So I committed to the dragon instead and got Garchomp because I really do love Garchomp, highlighting the fact that he can run many sets. He is usually known for his physical prowess, but he does have some special coverage and can be defensive as well. He's another fast Pokemon. He's got Edge Quake coverage, which is great, and can also boost or set up rocks. Just fills a large number of roles depending on what I need from him, which in my view is perfect for a draft-based Pokemon. Just something that when the opponent sees that they're preparing for you, or even when they see Garchomp on the other side of the field when the game starts, they still don't know what the heck it is. It could even click Earthquake and they don't necessarily know, because you could be, you could be Scarfed, you could be Banded, you could have Swords Dance, you could be tanky, so I think versatility is probably the most important thing for a successful draft-based Pokemon. And I'm giving him the name Garfunkel because, Garchomp, Garfunkel, whatever. Now I have 55 points remaining, so my next pick was Lucario, the fighting steel type. I gave him the nickname Mithril because it's a lightweight, strong metal, and that sounds like the perfect name for Lucario. The highlight for him is that he has unpredictable boosting, which is great. He has both Nasty Plot and Swords Dance, and even Agility, so he can be very difficult to prepare for that reason. So yeah, and he has the coverage moves and the stab moves to back up both of those types. Plus, he was an answer for ice types, and additionally has Justified and Fighting Stab for dark types. Just in case, on the off chance that Dragopole was struggling to break through them, and maybe in a pinch an answer to fairy types, because I have committed to the Dragon Core now. I've got Dragopole and Garchomp, so I do need a way to deal with pesky fairy types and even pesky steel types. So Lucario was kind of maybe putting too much pressure on him, because I'm telling him to deal with ice, dark, fairy, and steel types. And technically he has the stab and the capability to do all of those. I just don't know if he can do them all at once. So if someone has a bunch of really powerful fairy types or really tanky steel types, he may struggle with that. But, we got Garchomp with Earthquake for steel types and, stuff like that. And we still have 5 more members to reveal. So I was feeling pretty good about the Lucario pick. I actually got him pretty early for that reason. I think he was only worth 8 points or so. But I really liked how he fit into what I was building so far. I could see how many points he was. No, he was 11 points. So still pretty low. Next, we got Togekiss, which is actually the only Pokemon that I don't know what to name. So if you want to leave something in the comments for a nickname for Togekiss, I was drawing a complete blank. So most inventive nickname gets... I'll pick that name for when I bring this thing into battle. But the main reason is it's a fairy, and it's a versatile fairy. It forms the Dragon Steel Fairy Core with Lucario and Garchomp or Dragopole, which I think is great. It's also a flying type, so it gives me a ground immunity. And again, I just think it's hard to predict. It's got good bulk and defensive moves, but also 120 special attack and access to Nasty Plot. And, you can't underestimate the power of Serene Grace with Air Slash. Good lord, this thing is annoying, and I'm glad I have it because Actually, well, it won't decrease the chances of me seeing it because you don't compete with the same people who are in your drafting pool, technically. So I still could see Togekiss, but hopefully I don't because I hate playing against this thing. I'll have to match hacks with hacks if I see another Togekiss. But overall, very happy with this pick. And I now have 31 points left, which brings me to Galvantula, Banksy, who is a graffiti artist in France, I want to say, because, you know, Galvantula is known for throwing his sticky webs around. I have had a Galvantula before in other Pokemon leagues, and I named him Banksy then too, so this is the return of Banksy. The highlight is clearly that he's a sticky web pivoter, that even though he's not super versatile, but he does have some fun moves like Sucker Punch and Substitute and other random stuff. And I think he can actually make pretty good usage out of some of the new items this generation, such as Heavy Duty Boots and Throat Spray. I think is really interesting in conjunction with Bug Buzz. And like a Compound Eyes Thunder that can't miss at +1 is scary. It's definitely scary. So I think even though Galvantula lost a lot of versatility when Hidden Power Ice went away, Hidden Power Ice, yes, but when Hidden Power in general got the axe, Galvantula definitely suffered for that because he doesn't have a lot of coverage to begin with, but I'm still excited that I got him, and Sticky Web makes scary stuff like Garchomp and Lucario just outright horrifying because now even Scarfed users might not be able to outspeed them. And Dragopole is incredibly fast anyways, but just makes them even faster. So I'm definitely happy with the Galvantula pickup. Then I got a Moonguss. I couldn't make myself fully commit to just the hyper offense, even though I guess that was my intention to begin with, but I was just getting scared, man. So I wanted a fairy answer, so I picked up a poison type, and it's a Moonguss. It is nice. It's got some nice bulk to it, and that's helped a lot by Regenerator. And then he, of course, can be annoying with stuff like Leech Seed and Spore, so that is all great. Named him Snoop. Don't think I need to explain that one. Yeah, again, the highlight is just that he's my fairy answer. I think Moonguss actually has some slept-on offensive capabilities, so watch out for my Life Orb modest Moonguss during this tour. It's going to catch somebody by surprise, I guarantee it. His Sludge Bomb hurts if he wants it to. But yeah, pretty happy with the Moonguss, especially because I got to core it with Mega Blastoise, who is, you're allowed one Mega, not multiple Megas. So I ended up getting Mega Blastoise as mainly my Ice Resist, because especially since Mega Blastoise has access to Aura Sphere, and that gets boosted by Mega Launcher, so that's all fantastic and helps me with Ice types that would threaten my Dragons, but also Moonguss. So I like the synergy, the defensive synergy between Moonguss and Mega Blastoise a lot. And now I also have a Rapid Spinner, as well as a Defogger with Togekiss, and I think that's all my hazard control, so it was nice to get a second option. And, you know, you can't sleep on the damage of Mega Blastoise either. He's not just a tank, he can also dish it out if he wants to. And with that, I only had 1 point left, so I ended up picking Growlithe for Firewater Grass Core, with Mega Blastoise and Moonguss. Clearly, Hobbs here is not... Oh, I forgot to talk about the nickname. I'm naming this guy Donatello because I'm going to have him be shiny and purple because everyone prefers Donatello. I can't even remember the name of the one who wears blue. It might be Michelangelo. Who cares? Donatello is clearly the way to go. So he will be Donatello because he's going to be shiny and purple. But my last pick, 8th pick, is Growlithe going as Hobbs from Calvin and Hobbs. He technically completes the Firewater Grass Core, but is definitely not a tank by any stretch of the imagination. I think he can get kind of beefy with Eviolite, but still, he's really only going to be taking neutral or resisted hits. Super effective hits are going to hurt. I mean, just like Arcanine, he has... Morning Sun for regeneration, Will-O-Wisp to be annoying, but I was mostly thinking of him as sort of like a one-off Intimidate user or Flash Fire user to catch the opponent off guard and like get some tempo, because if there's a menacing physical attacker, I can send Growlithe into his death, get the Intimidate off, and then go into something else and start boosting for hopefully free. But yeah, that's the thought process behind Growlithe, and that is my whole draft. So we can see how I did for the Dragon Spam. I do have Garchomp and a Dragopole. I considered one more, but I don't know. I've never had this few Pokemon. I think the lowest number I've had before is like 11 or 12. So maxing out at 8 was definitely a challenge for me. I wasn't able to be as creative as I wanted to be, and the allowance was quite restricting. So only 2 things with the Dragon Spam. I would have loved 3, but I think these 2 dragons do a fine job because they can be physical or special, and they're very hard to predict and hard to outspeed and can deal a lot of damage. So I'm still happy with that, even though it's only 2 instead of 3. Mixed attackers, got Lucario as the main example of this, but like I just said, Dragopole and Garchomp can also fulfill this standard, and I guess technically Blastoise. I'm not allowed to run Shell Smash, just before you ask, because that would be pretty broken. But he still gets Liquidation, I think, or Waterfall and some random physical moves, so I don't know, technically speaking, if I want to, I can run physical Mega Blastoise. Offensive presence, I gotta highlight Galvantula because of the Sticky Web support, which I think really helps make this team scary, as if it wasn't already. And then, of course, I gotta talk about the Wall Breaker Mega Garchomp, especially because he has access to special moves too, like Draco Meteor. So if you get Draco Meteor, if you throw a Draco Meteor out and then start crushing things with Earthquake, I feel that that's a pretty devastating combination. So yeah, definitely happy with the offensive presence of this draft overall, even though I choked at the end and drafted some bulky Pokemon. I feel like I made the right choice, and I did indeed get the max number of picks. I wanted 8, and I got 8, or I guess like technically 7.5. I don't know if you can truly count Growlithe as a full pick, but you get the idea. I got 8 Pokemon on my roster, and that's what I wanted. So these are the Syracuse Sylveons. I'm very excited for this season to see what it holds for me, or for this tour. I don't know if you can call it a season. I think we're going to be round robining. I'm not actually positive, but more information will follow in the form of my first battle video whenever that comes to pass. I'm a little torn about whether I want to do them live or in post, but hopefully you can expect to see all of my matches here on the Krakenation channel, and I'm excited to go on this trip with you guys. Hopefully we can all learn a little something about improving our technique as draft-based Pokemon players. But regardless, that's going to do it for me. This has been Entei and Krakenation.